going to show how you solder string ball ends for a Kahler Tremolo bar. If you go, mainly I just do it on the unwound strings. What you want to do is you want to put just a string of solder across the winds on there, and that'll keep them from unraveling, and thicken them up a little bit so they won't break. Because with the Kahler you can, if you're having tuning problems or breaking problems, that's probably why. I prefer Floyd's, but with the Kahler it's nice because you can, I think they're better for floating. Literally make the strings go off. It's still in tune, and pull it up. It's very easy to pull up or down. It doesn't take a lot of effort. Literally one finger hanging off the neck there. Should still come back around to the tube. I haven't played this guitar a lot lately, so probably does need new strings. So basically what you're going to need, a soldering iron. I got this one at Home Depot for like 20 bucks. The stand you can get pretty cheap anywhere, it doesn't really matter. If you're not doing a lot of soldering, you don't need a $200 soldering iron. If you're not soldering every day, you don't need a $200 soldering iron. But at the same point, you don't want to go buy one of them $6 ones from Harbor Freight or whatever, because they won't get hot enough and they won't stay hot enough. And if you're a guitar player, you should know how to solder, just because you don't want to have to go to your local repair guy that is going to gouge you for replacing a pot or just rewiring a solder that comes loose. And if you're a Kahler owner especially, you need to know how to solder, because you have to do this or they're not going to stay in tune or not break the strings. The other thing is the solder. You want to get the solder that has the flux in it already. This is silver solder with flux in it already. You can get the flux separately. I honestly don't know why anybody wants solder without flux, just because it's a pain in the ass to brush it on. There may be a reason, but I sure the hell don't know it. You don't need the really thick stuff. This is really thin for doing pots and stuff like that. You don't need you don't need thick solder, aside from maybe doing the grounds on top of the pots. And that's why you need a decent soldering iron, because when you start getting into grounding pots on the top, aside from the strings, whenever you're soldering an item, you should heat the peg or whatever it is that you're putting solder onto, and then put the solder on that, not putting it on the iron. The only time I would say to not do that is when you're doing these strings, because if you add a lot of heat to the strings, you may be changing the temper of the string and eventually cause it to break where you overheated it at. So personally, what I do is I kind of lay the solder on the iron and then just move it across the string. I'll demonstrate in a second. I have your Dario XLs. I believe these are 9s. That guitar happens to be in standard tuning. You know, whatever guitar string you use is going to work. Again, all I do is the unwound strings, the wound strings, which is usually the first, the top 3 strings are wound, the bottom 3 are unwound. You only have to do this on the unwound. I've never ever done it on the wound strings. I've never had one break or unwind or break where the ball is at, as far as I can remember anyway. It's just the unwound ones, and it's probably going to be the bottom 3 if you're playing a really heavy gauge, maybe the bottom 2. Sometimes they wind the 3rd string up. But aside from that, I do all 3, and you should be able to whammy bar yourself into oblivion and never break it at the ball end anyway. If you listen to Slayer, which I'm not a big fan, but if you listen to Slayer, that's exactly what a Kahler sounds like. Just you can go ape shit with it and it'll stay in tune. Okay, so which one do you got your soldering iron? This is a $20 when I got it at Home Depot. Don't go cheap on these. I may have said that already, but I had to shoot this 3 times because my battery kept dying. What you want to do is you want to get these windings right here. You're going to put solder from the start to the end, and usually I put so a little bit goes between this little V in between where the ball is at, so it kind of braces that up a little bit too. And what I'll do is I'll do you know, if I got 3 packs of strings for my guitar with the Kahler in it, I'll do all 3 at the same time. And like I said, you want to do the unwound ones like that. Wound ones like this, you don't want to do. You don't need to. I've never broken one of those or had it come unraveled. But these, yes. So it's very simple. You want to use solder that has a flux in it. Or you can get the paint on kind, but I really don't see the point. So what you want to do, take your soldering iron, put it on there. You get some on there and just kind of drag it. There's a perfect example. That'll keep it from coming unwound. You don't want to go too far up the string, and you don't want a big giant blob factors, because then you'll have the string kind of lifting up off of the roundish part on the Kahler. Do one more here. You don't want to overkill it. Put too much, you're just going to have troubles. There you go. That one got a little crusty. I probably had my iron a little too hot. But there you go. It's very easy to do. You saw it doesn't take too long. You can do, you know, do a bunch of them at once. If you have extra E's, extra B's, which is not a bad idea, do those. And what I do is I just do them and throw them in the case, or put them back in the thing, and then just put an X on it or something, so you know that that you've done them already. So when you break a string or something, you're good to go. That's about it.